Yes, sir. Now we at hour number 2 of the West Coast doubleheader. We got a legendary pioneer on the line here to talk about his album, The Resurgence of Gangsta Rap. His new single, The Agenda, is, causing a lot of controversies, making a lot of people hair stand up on their backs. But that's what hip-hop is all about, man. It's about bringing that energy back. And he's back on board to talk to us about what he's been doing lately, the album, and where we're going to go from here. So without further ado, let's all introduce our friend, the big homie, Code 187. You on, my man, a.k.a. Big Hutch?
What's up with you, y'all? What's good?
What it do, man? Good, how you back
man?
with us, man?
Man, man, just out here living the life, man, back into the loop, man, Yeah, man. Shit, thanks for having me on. What's good with y'all?
Man, we good.
Man, we trying to stay warm, man. They hitting us with the chill factor out
here. Good luck with that where y'all at.
That 20-degree weather.
Man, good luck with that where y'all at. I mean, it's actually kind of gloomy here, but it ain't. It just get cold at night, so like I said, it should be like that where y'all at this time of year. So, but what's good? Let's get into it. What's good? Talk to me.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. We got a lot to bring up, man. Like the agenda. You done made YouTube, man. You done joined the list. You done joined the list of people.
And the single right now is OG. So people don't know, but the single right now is OG. But it's I got multiple singles on the album. I Am, and then Agenda, and now I got OG out right now. But which is like the official rollout campaign for my, the agenda. The crazy thing about the agenda, I put the agenda out just to basically have some relevant to say about the current events that was going on. You know what I mean? I kind of didn't want to, with the record being Above the Law Presents the Resurrection of Gangsta Rap, I kind of wanted you guys to know that I'm saying a little bit more than just, rolling out doing gangster shit. I wanted people to know that I'm kind of in tune with what's actually going on, politically, socially, and which is what I feel that we done in the early days with gangster rap. It was fun, it was hardcore, it was informative. You know what I mean? So that was me throwing my hat in the ring, putting something out there that's very informative about what was going on with this agenda that corporate global has on everybody. I think when you have a voice, y'all, you need to speak. If that's how you feel on your heart, that's what an artist does. He speaks on. Artist is not trendy. An artist is he's the guy that's left all the time. And I'm talking about art. I'm not talking about an ideal. A pop guy's an ideal. He can do something, but an artist is a person that he looks at society and he speaks about what's going on outside of his door, his window, what he sees when he's driving down the street. So. That's why I wanted to do. That's why my agenda. And I got, YouTube got really funny with me when I done Lord Jamal's show, the Godcast, and we world premiered the video. Well, next morning they end up banning me, said it's hate. And all I was speaking really was the truth, actually, literally. So I don't know. It's funny now. I would hate for somebody really have to stand up and say something about something real. They'll probably mute you, and you might be saying something that can really help some people, So freedom of speech is one of the more valuable things to us because of the fact of that. If the world goes really, really bad and we need to stand up and speak on it, in some cases what we're looking at is the powers that be will try to, time us out, put us on mute, And I don't like that fact about the game now. If the police are fucked up, they're fucked up. If the government is ill, they're ill. If people need to be called on their shit by the people because we're the ones with boots on the ground and have to deal with all this madness,
And one thing about it, Cole, is when we look at your history, of course, with Above the Law, this album is a very and necessary, continuation of the, of the legacy you all started, years ago.
Right.
And one thing.
Rest in peace, my brother KMG. All right.
UKI, KMG, I mean, all y'all just, I don't think people still really understand to this day, of course, in GOMAC as well. I don't think people really understand what you all represent in terms of what it means to really speak about what was going on, then and how relevant it is to now, because a lot of stuff y'all rapped on back then is showing itself now.
Right.
When you look at, Hutch, how we're into right now, I mean, we look at, the situations of George Floyd. We look at what's happened with the election, from 5 years ago. We look at what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. There is a litany of social unrest from both political and, political and social. There's a lot of unrest there. When you really locked yourself into it to create this project, did you understand that this was going to be something that obviously was going to really, 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 I knew you knew that it was going to obviously get some attention. Did you realize it was going to get that much attention?
Yeah, I did, because nothing has changed. See, the only thing changed is the way we watch television and talk on the telephone. You know what I mean? So I knew that it was a relevant point, and I know it's something that a lot of people running up for cover about over. So because when you look at the landscape and you say, okay, well, George Floyd, that mirrors with the death being, with it being actually a fatal situation, that mirrors the Rodney King thing.
Right.
It mirrors it. It's not to us. To us, it's nothing new. It's the same old shit over and over and over. And people, they get on social media, even people that are my colleagues, they get on social media and they're shocked that it's still going on. But I'm like, yo, it's not much has changed, but the telephone is smaller. We can talk to each other and see. It's not much has changed, y'all. It's like the sun and the moon. It rises and sets the same way. You know what I mean? We act like something is so changed, but really, if technology has changed, people haven't changed.
Right.
If you ask yourself on the system, okay, here's a fucked up example of it. And the reason why I put my music into a real sense and how we always put our music into a real sense, into, I always say, a human experience, is because that's what people want to break away from. They want to break away to, in music and art, a human experience. They want to have fun. They want to have this. They want to see how you feel. But they want to hear you telling the world how they actually feel. So when we made records, that's what records that we made. Those were messages from people in those areas, how they actually felt, and we put it on wax or put it on CD, or put it on cassette or whatever. And now digitally now, since we know human behavior hasn't changed. We know that. For a fact, we know that human behavior hasn't changed. We know that part. See, that's what everybody keep on falling into a gray area about.
Right.
Because the phone is smaller, and now it's not cable, but it's Wi-Fi. That, we're forgetting that what doesn't ever change is the human experience never changes. You still want pussy. You still got to make money. You still love your mama. You still hate a sucker motherfucker. The police will still fuck you over if you get out of pocket with them, so-called. They still overdo it when you're a fresh guy of color rolling around and they're jealous. It's that their behavior doesn't change. It doesn't matter that it's a body cam. Their behavior is not going to change. That's it.
Yeah, so human instinct hasn't changed at all.
There you go. That's why I base my music off of how people feel about what's going on in the world. That's my thing. Now, the other guy can stay in a strip club and do this and do that's his thing. I don't have a problem with that. Mine is a more overall. But I'm from the era of the Eazy-E's, the NWA's, the Tupacs, the Wu-Tangs. I'm from that era, the BDPs, the X-Clans, the PEs. I'm from that era where those guys talked about the human experience. They didn't only talk about the party. They talked about the whole thing, you know, like a human being would do. Everyone doesn't have that skill set. Guess what, y'all? I'm blessed. My crew was always blessed to be able to have hit records and do that, you know. So I want to continue to do that with the Resurrection of Gangsta Rap.
And one thing about it, Hutch, I think that is so necessary is that you all are the living legends of a time when, as you said, because when we listen to it, and it's not about us being older that we don't like a lot of the new shit that's out, because we like a lot of it, but we feel like today, you know, but, you know, shout out to artists like Griselda, Davies, you know, you know, Rhapsody, all of them, you know. Yeah, I mean, Rhapsody, everybody, you know, a lot of the artists out there keeping the culture alive. I think where we got disillusioned as a culture and as a listening base was that now it's the repetitiveness, it's the formula. It's like you said, everybody's in the strip club, everybody's popping pills. We grew up in a time where there was a balance. You know, radio played everything. You know,
because that's human. Because that's human, brother. That's the human. What you're talking about is the human aspect. Once you take the human, when you put the artificial mechanical into it, this is what it, because it's like a machine. It works. It does one thing. It works. It doesn't change. It doesn't. The plant that we are changes. I don't care if we from the ghetto, we from the suburb. We change all the time. But we change as us. We don't change as another person. We change as us. So when you formulate something, eventually that's going to catch up with the plant, because the plant going to be like, it's the same old shit. I liked it when it was something fresh and new, but now it's not changing. It's not growing into nothing. It's not. It's not becoming. Something that when someone come out and they flip trap now. Now it's this that turns into this. Now it's these 10 groups from this region that's flipping this way. Now what it does is what you're saying is absolutely right. It doesn't make it whack. It just makes it the same. See, that's what people get crossed up, because I love a lot of the new stuff because, one, it's very fun. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that as far as it goes, you know, when you're an artist, what we have to understand, and what I don't like about big corporations and the way they treat artists like myself, well, I'm glad they do, because it empowered me to service you guys straight direct. So I'm fine with that. But what I want listeners to understand is that treat yourself to something other than the strip club and popping pills. Treat yourself to someone that entertains you on these other levels as well, because that's going to enrich who you are as a person, as a listener. The greatest thing about people are trying to make our era so great. The greatest thing about our era is that you can go from NWA to De La Soul, to P.E., to Nas, to Wu-Tang, to Snoop Dogg, to Above the Law, to, you see what I'm going with this? To Biggie, to, you see what I'm going with this? It's not one thing. In our era, it wasn't one thing that was profound. It all was, because what people were doing, they were staying open to experience and broaden their palate, as you say. Broaden their palate. They were like, it's the same food we eating every day, but we getting enriched. No, you're eating the same shit. You're not going around and experiencing what's going on in LA. And if you're staying in Atlanta, it's fine. I love Atlanta. I'm not saying, but you have to experience different. That's the great thing. When you on the East Coast, you can experience what we were doing in Southern California. That's the beauty of it. And it would sound like you're here. It wouldn't be like we're catering to new. If the East Coast, we could experience what was going on in the East Coast and be in LA. I can experience what's going on in New York and be in Pomona, California, homie. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what makes it harmful. Not what they're talking about. Is that the people will not broaden their horizons and create it. We have to. My uncle told me this: take music further than where you found it. So if I found it,
that's a gem. That's a gem.
Yeah, so yes, that's what being influenced in music is about. You know what I mean? So that's what people have to start embracing. The era that they're talking about embracing is not that it was just so better and so hell of a, but it was diverse, and it was diverse because the consumers thrived on that. They didn't say, give us the same old shit. Oh, I ain't fucking with that. If it ain't like this, I don't fuck with it. We listen to everything. People have they go-to shit, of course. Every coast have they go-to. I'm Biggie. I'm Tupac. I'm a Mobb Deep. I'm a Brother Law. You know what I mean? Everybody had a go-to. I'm not talking about that, but everybody was listening to. I talk to so many East Coast cats that say they Brother Law fans. It's unreal the way they be making up the East Coast, West Coast shit. I'm like, that's like, man, my whole project used to bump y'all. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? So we have to cease fire on that kind of thing, and we have to, one, give them props for one thing, keeping hip hop out there in a certain sense, but we do have to step in and check the game too, and say, look, we can be broader than this, y'all. That's cool, but we can be broader than this.
Yeah, I think where it started, and I read you know what's crazy is that I read a report earlier today, and it was from this blog, and it was talking about when the music started becoming less balanceable, and I think it started in around 96, 97 when they passed the Telecommunication Act for the radio, and that's where you started hearing a lot of the same music. They were going to that same vein, that same frequency.
It became formulated. But it always has been, because you got to realize the stuff that we did say, shout out to Eazy-E, rest in peace. Stuff we did with Resurgence was never on the radio, but it's bigger than a lot of stuff that's on the radio now. You see, that's the crazy part about when radio kicked in. Radio didn't do as much as they try to get credit for making hip hop be what it is. It's really underground made it like that. You know, all these underground people made it that way. All this underground shit that was going on made it like that, y'all. You know, because you got to realize all our stuff at Ruthless was never on the radio.
But
you know radio didn't really kick itself. It didn't really embrace hip hop till probably the late 90s when it started being formulated. So if you look at the essence of it, it's still a core of music. You know, it's just now they dictate actually how it's fed to people now, versus the people now don't say that, like say for instance, y'all grew up in that era, right? You guys would go look for, y'all wouldn't look for what's on the radio. Y'all would go look for what's in the street. Now people are online looking for stuff. They're not literally looking in the streets, but the streets is your phone now. The streets is Instagram. The streets is YouTube. The streets, you know what I'm saying? So it's not the radio. Still, it's not the radio. For us to bring radio, music is. It's never been, our kind of music is not, one thing everyone has to realize, and I've said this on another interview, you heard me saying it through the Resurgence and Gangsta rap campaign, is that hip-hop made hip-hop. Meaning that the people who done hip-hop created the industry, not these other people. No big conglomerate came and said, we're going to put $1 billion into hip-hop. Nobody done that. People like Eazy, people like Jay Prince, people like Luke, people like Russell and Rick, people like Andre Harrell, rest in peace. They built that, and then the aftermath of that, and then the overlay would be Death Row, No Limit, Cash Money. You know what I'm saying? Those people created the industry, what you know as today. Violators in New York, all them people, those guys were hip hop people. They didn't they came from hip hop. They came from the parks, underground clubs, dorms at colleges, selling out the trunk at the swap meet. That's what made our industry, y'all. They'll never be able to format it to where they will own it. That's why it hasn't been taken like rock and roll. See, rock and roll, blues, all that was backed by outsiders to make it an industry. Hip hop wasn't. Hip hop wasn't backed by outsiders to make it an industry, dog. You know.
And you're right, Hutch, because when we look at the history of it, because you hit on so many levels, and you hit on a point that I was going to say, but you nailed it. When we bring it back a little bit, when you look at it, when we talked about the interview last time we had with you, hip hop was based out of the struggle of black and brown people in New York, and we were able to express ourselves through this struggle in terms of how we did it. And one thing about it, when we look at doing this show, King and myself, you know, we talk on the air, we talk off air about it. We're so blessed, we're appreciative we came up in an era to where we were so well-rounded, because over 30 years of it from when we were kids prepared us for this today. And what we're still doing, and God willing, we will continue to do, because we understand it and are able to talk to legends like yourself. And when you look at hip-hop today, King and Hutch, the people that are really into it, because you mentioned it, Hutch, that it's the people that are listening to it from the streets, but it's the people who read the magazines, who are reading the blogs, like, you know, Armando, you know, Urena, shout out Underground Hip Hop Blog, people who read, you know, Don Diva Magazine, Source, Double XL, Murder Dog, you know, Straight Stuntin', shout out DJ K Slay, of course, Kevin Childs, you know, the publisher of Don Diva, you know, As Is Magazine. These are people who are in touch with it, that are not having corporate influence. Because when we look at what was going on, like King mentioned about the radio, what we're seeing now is back in the day when we were coming up from the early years, a DJ's job was to break in new records. So when I was growing up in Virginia, you know, we would hear a variety of hip-hop. We would hear Threats, Let the Dogs Loose. We would hear Cam's Peace Treaty. We could hear Cool G Rap. We could hear Ice-T. You know, we could hear, you know, TCF Crew. We could hear Nas on Main Source. When we had video shows. Yeah, when we had BET, you know, we had Rap City, you know, we had Yo MTV Raps, we had Video Music Box. You know, dude, I still got my magazines from years ago. Yeah, I still got pictures that I haven't sent you yet, you know, from other magazines, you know, chronicling Above the Law history. It's like, dude, I mean, you're talking to two guys here that have been fans of you all for over 30 years and still are to this day, and still supporting to now.
I appreciate you, man. I mean, that's because when you look at the industry, there was nothing for us when we came in the industry, so we had to create our own industry. But go ahead, I don't want to cut you off, brother.
Right. Oh, no, you good. Yeah. One thing about it too, Hutch, because we really have, you know, in the situation of how we've seen the game move, because we wanted to get your thoughts on the situation tragically, you know, with Dolph's passing, in terms of how beef was for you all back in the day, whether street or industry, and how it has changed today, and precautions artists should take in terms of not either engaging in it, or if they have found themselves actively involved in a feud, what precautions and protections do they need to take? Please, the floor is yours.
Well, I think one thing that me being a street person, and I understand when I became highly successful in this, I knew my value. And when you have a value of something, there's a lot of people that are going to hate on you. There's going to be people that you're going to think is your friend. They hate you, more than likely. You know, that circle gets very, very small as you become more and more successful. And I think what happens now with social media, with all these different things, like for us, you didn't know where we were. So if I was successful somewhere, it'd be hard for you to catch me. You would know that, I'm, you know, in front of like a pizzeria or a burger stand in my neighborhood, because it wouldn't be people taking selfies and locating me and that kind of thing, you know. So now I think they have to be extra precautious and understand that there are people who don't really like your success like that, where you're from. And the most saddest thing about it is that it's hard for us to come out that when, like I say, Young Dolph, I heard a lot of stuff about he's very humble dude. So he probably felt like he's not in harm's way. But people kind of don't care what your persona is if they hate on you, you know. And that's not to say that he was, you know, out there, you know, flipping or anything like that. I really don't know what's going on, but I know what it's like to be hated on, and people have no reason to. You know, I had a situation just off what you're talking about. Me and my brother Mustafa, we, you know, matter of fact, he had just got home from the Fed. You know, we charged big money at that time, right? So, and I just came out with a couple of hit records, you know what I'm saying, like that, and we was doing it big. So we got the Mercedes limo out. We go to our hometown. It's a big party at the Fox Theater, right? Back then they used to throw party at the Fox Theater. So we come in, you know, we fly. You know what I'm saying? We got 200 with us.
You know, Pomona got to represent.
Yeah. You know, we're on the player shit. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you know, we ex-Z-boys basically. So, you know, the play is big. You know what I mean? So we're in there, seeing some cats in my neighborhood, buying them drinks, buying this, buying that, doing all this, right? All right. So we thinking it's all good, man. Let's hook up. Let's do something, man. Let's do this more often. So the next day comes, my brother called me next afternoon and said, hey, man, I got to tell you something, man. You know, remember such and such he was hanging out with, man? This other sister from my neighborhood called him and was like, hey, man, them dudes were coming. They was going to jack y'all last night. Now, you see what I'm talking about? We was showing them a King's evening, and they wanted to rob us. We didn't do nothing to them. We didn't. So from that point, me and him, you know, and we all right. You know what I'm saying, y'all? We all right. We do all right. So we stopped doing that crap, man. You know, just for that, because we could be like dog for us, trying to be cool with somebody, and then somebody shoot up our cars somewhere because they're mad. You know, at the fish market or something, bro. You know what I mean? And we didn't show no malice to the dudes. We didn't press them dudes. We weren't flossing them dudes. We were trying to be humble and give back to, you know, giving homies from the hood a good time. You know what I'm saying? But people don't look at it like that. And as we see with social media, where people can drop in on you at something, wherever you at, you post, oh, he over here, people taking selfies and all that stuff. People could just pull up and do what they got to do to you. You know, they probably didn't do it to us that night because we caught them by surprise. But if they was laying on us, they probably would have killed us, homie. I keep it real. When you a street person, I know sometimes that stuff bothers you that you can't go back to your old restaurant, and this and that, yeah. But you have to protect yourself when you have children. When I started having to raise kids and be responsible for them, and a wife, and this and that, all that shit is over with. You feel me? I'm just being honest. Right. The hood didn't look so entertaining to me, especially when I hear stuff about certain people who hate on you that you've done nothing to and shit like that, y'all. It's real. The hate be real. I don't care how good of a dude you is, the hate be real. The hate be real. And when you're doing something legitimate, you know, people are like crabs in a barrel. But the bad thing about that is that instead of it inspiring people, they want to bring you down.
Yeah, that jealousy is something, man.
It's not like you went and robbed somebody and you doing bad. You know, you doing good by fucking somebody over. So people, oh, it's karma. No, it's just I went off and followed my dream and it paid golden for me. And now you're mad at me because you don't have a dream that pay off for you. You see? And it's very easy. It's very easy for people to have that mindset, y'all. You wouldn't know how easy it is because you're not one. You don't know how easy it is to hate because you're not a hater. But for a hater, it's easy for him to hate. And that's what I think about these guys. They have to protect themselves more. They have to stop being, you know, when you become really successful, people can't have a lot of access to you. That's just the way it goes. You're gonna have to forfeit.
That is real.
You're gonna have to forfeit that. You know, and then when you start having more, because you know, God rest his soul, man. My condolences to his kids, his girl, you know, and all of his family members. His mother, if she's still around, you know, his father, his uncles, aunties, brothers and sisters, man, because that's heavy, man. If I have to hear about another brother just getting killed because somebody hate on him, hey, listen, the Pop Smoke shit fucked me up. You know, stuff like that fucked me up. The mental stuff fucked me up. You know, because those guys were on their way to be those next kind of guys like myself. They were the young virgins of us. You know what I mean? Those guys were the young, the real guys. You know what I mean? They really embraced that. Those guys, when I met them, they embraced what we were doing. They weren't like, I don't know. They're like, hey, man, give me some advice, what to do, how to move. You know? You know, unfortunately, it's hatred out there, you know? And people have too much access to them. See, in our era, people didn't have a lot of access to us. To be honest with you, they didn't know where we were at.
Right.
If something went down, they had to be in it. You can have, see, it's a scary thing when you can post something and people will actually pull up on you from that post.
Right.
That's scary, y'all. Not scary scary. It's not scary, but say I post somewhere, I'm with my family somewhere, and somebody pull up on me that don't like me, and they kill me in front of my kids and my girl, homie. What they do that? Because
one thing about it, one thing about it, Hutch, when we look at the time today, Hutch, because you all, cocaine, sugar free, you all are the OGs of Pomona, man. I mean, you all had a reputation that was solidified on its own merits of what was done in the field. Mm-hmm. What we're seeing now is a situation where we're seeing artists trying to get a accelerated level of celebrity in terms of trying to show, well, they out here, this, that, and the other. I'm like, listen, things have changed. And like you said earlier, Hutch, human nature doesn't change.
The person that's trying to prove that he's tough is not really a tough guy. A person that's trying to prove he's tough is really not a tough guy. A person that's trying to prove that he's real is really not really a real dude. You know what I mean? You don't have to do that. See, that's the thing about it. If I'm a real, I don't have to go around those areas and prove none of that. You know what I mean? So to go off what you're saying, but yeah, and which is, hey man, stop giving them people access for them to go duck hunting. That's my advice to any of them. Stop giving them access for them to go duck hunting on you, bro. I mean, I talk real, man. I'm a real dude. I'm cut like that for real, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't scared of none of it, but I want to live through all of it. You dig what I'm saying?
Hutch, every time we have you on the show, you always give us some gems.
I mean, so that don't mean you're not real, man. Because that don't mean you're not real because you take precautions. That don't mean you're not real because because when it presents itself, guess what? You prepared. See, that's the thing about a person that takes precautions. When some show up, they're prepared. Person is out there, I'll keep it real. They don't really know. Dog, you at the car wash, dog, you dudes across the street looking at you, homie. You know what I'm saying? You got to hit record out, man. What you doing over here, homie? My homie, when I was coming up, my homie would tell me, what you doing over here, homie? Like, what you doing over here, little homie? You know what I'm saying? Because they was real G's. I'm from real G's, and that's not something I'm bragging about. You know me, bro. Y'all talk to me a lot off the record. You know what I'm saying? I don't proclaim to be tougher than the next nigga that's tough as me, homie. I respect, but don't disrespect. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I think these guys have to understand that, look, man, hey, it's a whole different time frame. It's a whole different access that they have to y'all, homie. Like, you're successful, man. You got it. I always tell youngsters, know your value, man. Don't get caught up in the thinking you're the same guy from the project when you're a guy that's traveling the world and jumping out of private jets. They don't look at you like that no more.
And what you said, Hutch, about access is real because a lot of times me and one of my aces, we were talking about it the other day. One of my homies from high school who was real heavy back then, and me and him clicked just off of our love for hip hop, and he's still one of my best friends to this day, but he came in, off the block, from where he was at, coming to where I was and, the high school I was at, and niggas hated on him right away because he had all the fly shit, fucking all the bitches. I mean,
And he ain't taking off from nobody. He just grind.
But it's like, but there was an incident. I don't want to get too deep on the air about it, but there was an incident where they ran up on him. It wasn't a bad run up, but he took it like a G. And but his thing was like, man, he was like, they don't know, man, because I could have called up that hood and like all of them would have got aired out. Now we back in high school, mind you, and this is how much pull he had back in the day.
Right.
But it's one thing about it is go ahead.
No, it is like what you're saying, man. It's like people have too much access. So go ahead. Yeah, they have too much access.
But one thing about it is, but one thing about it is even then, me and him talk all the time about it, in terms of, moves that we make, how we, how we keep our personal, like, business, off the lines. Like, it's like, I don't post up, just like King don't post up. We don't post up where we at unless it's beneficial to the brand that we have.
There you go.
If it's some shorties I'm fucking with, niggas ain't gonna know the bitches I fuck with. When I was hitting the club, they would just see me with a baddie come up in there. They be like, "Yo, where'd you find her?" I'm like, "Hey, she was always in the cut, homie. It's just you won't get that cut."
People know who your queen is access. People know who your children are is access, man. You don't access them. You let the people get that access when you were super multi-million-dollar commodity, bro. Still do that. You better know your value. I tell you to their face. And that ain't no sucker shit. I tell you to your face. When you start making millions and millions of dollars legitimately, you better start knowing your value, man. Fuck all that. Keeping it real, motherfucker. Yeah, you real rich. How about doing that? How about being real rich? Okay? I'm keeping it real. Oh, you mean you keeping it real at that big-ass house that you in up there? No, man, I'm still that project nigga. No, you're not. You're a guy that lives behind a gate and you have a $3 million house. What are you talking about to me?
Yeah.
What do you want?
And after a while,
you want to see him to 1050 or you want to send him to college? Which one we do? Which one you want to do? Because I've been there. That ain't fly. So, and I know a whole bunch of real motherfuckers, but that's my take on it, y'all. And the reason why I even do records like I do now is to actually be an OG for the young G's. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't do records. I do records to say, like, look, I need to talk OG shit to actually lead people somewhere to be like, okay, I want to get to that level in 25 years or 30 years or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? That's what we need. That's the responsible thing to do. When you're a real person, when I say real, you went through something that's real in your life that you need to speak on, to inspire people, to warn people, you have to conduct and carry yourself in a manner that it is upstanding. You feel me? You can't conduct yourself in a fashion where I'm just like the young motherfuckers out here. Well, when I was 21, I was supposed to be wilding. You know what I mean? When I was 25, I was supposed to be doing stupid shit, to be honest, because that's how you grow, but you have to be mindful to what you're doing as well. You know what I mean? When you start actually seeing a little bit of success, you have to be like, well, okay, now I got to be more responsible. That's how it's got to be. It's one way, y'all. It's one way, y'all. Listen, it's the life that you work for and try to obtain. When you have it, it's one way. It's not all those other things that when you were struggling. It's like saying I'm a rich dude that do poor shit. That doesn't make sense, right?
I never heard that. That's one right there. I never heard one like that. Yeah, it makes any sense. If you logically think of most of our people on this planet, in this world, we never apply logic to where we're actually at. I'll give you an example. When I was in prison, I didn't do much music in prison because I was in prison. You see what I'm saying? I mostly wrote after I got out of prison to give you a reflection of what I felt like when I was in prison. Guess what, y'all? Because when I was in prison, I was being an inmate. I wasn't trying to be a rapper in prison. You understand what I'm saying? That is important for you to understand because that could be a point about you living and dying. You skipping around the tier like you on BET, nigga, and you in a fucking medium motherfucking aggravated medium FCI, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I learned that from going away to where things are moments. When you're in that moment, be that moment. One time a lieutenant came to me, we was going to chow. He said, one thing I like about you, Hutchinson, is that, hey, you always have the spirit, you always have this, but if people know who you are, and we know who you are, and we talk about you but you never ask for extras. You never want shit. I said, man, I'm in prison, man. What do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying?
ask you for an extra fucking biscuit. You know what I mean? Because I rap. No. Give me mine like everybody else. And when I get home, I get back to popping bottles, fucking bad bitches, driving big cars, and do me. I like that. Yeah. Don't give me no extra. Don't put no motherfucking target on my back. I know the reality of this shit in here. So that's what I mean. And when I got home, I didn't come home acting like no inmate. I went right back to the studio and went back to my offices, went back to making motherfucking music. You feel me? Because that's the moment that I was in at that point. So what I'm trying to say is when people live in these lives that they're in, when you become a millionaire, bro, just live a millionaire life. It's okay. There's not no sucker shit. That's not. I don't care how tough you is. Or just live a millionaire's life. Because when you go to prison, or whatever you do, you're going to live like an inmate. You're not going to be that fly, flamboyant dude on the street. Look, I was in there with millionaires, including myself. We were all in there for money, big dough. I was in the Fed. So you're not going to, they're going to go in there and be inmates. They're not going to be, we're going to do a bid tonight. There's no club in there. You got to be an inmate.
Right.
You feel me?
That's real.
Everybody has a number.
Everybody has a number. This time you got to stand up at 4 o'clock. Child time is this. Everybody got to move. We want to go to the library, go work out in the gym, go to the yard. You know what I'm saying? Everybody on the same type of time, doing the same shit. You know, the dude that embezzled $20 million and crossed the tier from me, he got treated the same way as the dude that got caught up for 15 keys. You know what I mean? They got the same treatment. He didn't get the big multi-millionaire treatment because that's what he was. This ain't no motherfucking Goodfellas and fake shit like that. This real life, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's in there. Them Italians I was in there with wasn't in there cooking Scostolis and whatever the fuck we got our own wing. No, it wasn't like that. Motherfucker was child with us. Motherfucker who hit the government for $20 billion with the child with us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they made it like jail was like this fancy place to be. They made it like jail was this big fancy place to be, and they had people signing up.
Man, listen, let me explain something to you. When you live in your life, if you able to make millions and millions of dollars in this shit, live like a motherfucking millionaire. Don't live like no fucking low. You here for the real motherfucker. Can't nobody tell me I ain't real. I ain't no rat. I ain't none of that, homie. But when I speak from an OG perspective, homie. I'm cool with how old I am. I'm straight with it, homie. I ain't trying to be young. I'm trying to be an OG. So when you hear me speak, I'm going to speak anything from an OG perspective, homie. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear that shit. Because I tell motherfuckers, you talking about I'm doing this and I'm big time this. But when I was big time moving, I got indicted, man. So knock that shit off, man. If you that, you that. If you ain't, leave it alone, homie.
But that's real.
Ain't no fun to promote fake shit. Ain't nothing. You don't get nothing out of promoting fake shit when you a real motherfucker. You don't get nothing out of that when you a real motherfucker talking real shit. You talk real shit, homie. When people talk to you, you don't give them some real shit if you're a real motherfucker. You know, a lot of these people in this music industry, homie, in general, they get in it with a misconception. You know what's real in the music industry? The energy that you put on that motherfucking tape. That's the real shit. The energy is real. The ism is real. Everything else is like, I was on the block doing this. I was there. You're not actually on the block, homie. You're painting the picture. So why are you trying to have that play out in real time after you have a hit record?
You know, Hutch, that's real because, yeah, and when you look at it, Hutch, what you said about understanding, knowing your worth, and once you made that transition, once again, on this show, disclaimer, we don't put out names to try to disrespect. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, I hit up Jazzy Rosa, Shondell Rosa. He said, what up, man? You know, manager of the East Siders. He said, what up?
Yeah. What's up, though?
Yeah, when you look at what happened with Fetty Wap, you know, when he got hit, and we're like, you know, we you know, me and King got the news, and we're like, what?
It happened. Yeah. It happened. So motherfuckers. Hey, look, you know, we get started the same way. So I ain't going to say nothing about Fetty. Fetty trying to get his money. Well, I'm going to tell him. You know what I mean? Well, I'm going to tell him. Hey, you know, hey, man, Opportunity is opportunity, y'all. You know how that's from within inside of a man himself. You know, you can say no, or you can say go. You know what I mean? You can say no, or you can say go. If you, I hope you do. Man, listen. I hope that guy's a stand-up guy, because I don't respect nothing else. You know, I don't respect nothing else. You know, people ask me about Tekashi. I got love for Tekashi's music, but he's a rat. I don't fuck with rats. You know why I don't fuck with rats? Not because Tekashi ratted. I don't fuck with rats because I got ratted on. See? You see? A regular Joe Blow motherfucker like yourself, you should support Tekashi because to you he's a rapper. But for me, I'm a criminal, homie. I did crimes. You know, I do legitimate stuff now, but I did crimes, homie. So if anybody that ratted on somebody, I can't never back that up. I can't never do that, homie. Period. That don't knock him his music or nothing. Listen, man, I'm not going to give you a chance. Okay? So that's why I don't deal with. That's why I don't deal with stuff like that. You know, and that's real. I'm telling y'all some real shit on y'all show. You know what I mean? A good dear friend of mine ratted on me. So I don't do them. I don't want them in my area. I don't want to have no relationship with them. I don't want to do no records with them. Not because they rap, and not because they're rap, because they rap because someone ratted on me, and I don't advocate that behavior, pimping. I don't. You know, all these other people who trying to jump in, all these other people trying to jump in and say, "Hey, a rat, he did." Okay, have you ever been on the street doing shit? Then what the fuck they have to do with you? Okay, just be real, bone to bone. See, street people. One thing about us, we don't never set up and check all these motherfuckers who ain't in the streets or never been in the motherfucker. We just let weirdos run around and have they fucking shit to say about what happens in the streets, and you ain't never been in it. You ain't. That's like you say your partner was, homie. He's offended by that because he in the streets. But if you a motherfucker, industry motherfucker, of course you go, oh, Tekashi, yeah, of course you're gonna be cool with him because you're not in the streets. So with that, I hope he deal with it with honor. I hope he does the right thing by him and not rat and take his time and do his time. Whatever he would fight hard to be responsible for what you're responsible for and do your time, man, with honor, man. That's what real people. If you're not, you should have got involved. If you can't do that, you shouldn't have got involved. You shouldn't have got involved. And that's not a take. Like I don't like to get into the narrative, y'all, of a fuck Tekashi or this or that. I just have to say I wouldn't have anything to do with it because I was someone snitched on me, man. You know what I mean? So I can't support that kind of behavior ever. It'll be wrong for me to do that. You know. So
okay. So we got to ask this question. When do we get the book? We need the book. We need the book. We need your autobiography. We need the book.
Coming. It's coming.
We need to be the first.
Look, man, it's just a lot of stuff going on that, like with my businesses, you know, and I haven't had time to sit down and write it. You know, with me doing a new record, creating 3 different new companies and stuff like that. I haven't been, and then a television show I got coming out. I haven't been able to sit down and write the book, but yeah, it's coming. You know what I mean? It's funny. My team always asks me, like, man, you need to do a book. You need to do a book. I'm like, no, I don't have time to do what I'm doing right now, you know? Let alone put my break and do a book. But it'd be awesome, man. I mean, you know, I don't know. Yeah.
You got too many dope quotables, man, to not have a book. Because I mean, look, every time we talk to you on and off air, man, you always give us something that it's like we remember.
That's right.
I mean, man.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, you
there's
know,
always some gems.
The thing about it is when you all I ever wanted to do, and it is to. And it's just like me and my crew, like me and KMG, when we speak, we always said the greatest thing that ever happened to us is that when people come up and say like, oh man, you helped me through it. I made it through. I grew up on this. I did it. And at the end of the day, we want that more than having a platinum record on our wall and it being on the charts, because the way we created Above the Law was from not, I won't say keep using real, but it was from a human perspective. It was some guys in a dope spot trying to get out of that dope spot with music. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is that that's how we made it through. Creating that music is how we made it. So when we give that to y'all and y'all say, y'all helped me make it through, that's more rewarding than a Grammy or this, or you know what I mean? So that's why I think we're due to do all the stuff that you're talking about, and we're destined to do that because in our whole journey in this, we never thought that we would be legendary. We never thought people would label us as anything but just some guys who, we just wanted to be known as doing it the right way, you know what I mean, and doing it for the culture as people use now. But back then it was just doing it to say, hey, we want to change our financial conditions. We want to help our family. We want to raise our kids in a better environment than we were raised in, you know? So that's why, yeah. So definitely, if I can write a book and inspire you as much as I inspire people in my music, I'm more excited than you to do it, you know? But it's work,
big
you know?
Right now, look, Jay Prince did his, Prodigy did his, Snoop did his, you know, Rick Ross has 2 of them, Gucci did his, we need yours.
That's right.
And DJ
well, I'm gonna
Yella.
do it.
DJ Yella did his
DJ
too.
Yella
We need it.
Yeah. Shout out to DJ Yella, man. Yeah, shout out Dr. Dre. And she did, man. You know, Ice Cube.
Man.
Man.
Yeah, it's good. It's good still to see you getting around doing the press and giving your story. And saw you on the Easy E joint that Tracy did. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Her and Aaron. Yeah. Yeah, dope, man. I've always, I mean, my next thing that I want to speak on. And I'm going to say it on your show, and I'm going to start speaking on it. Easy is supposed to have a star. I think that's really messed up that Easy doesn't have a star in Hollywood Walk of Fame, man. None of us would even exist without Easy. Some of the guys with stars wouldn't even exist without Easy. So I think that's very important. I think people forget Easy the greatest thing to me than Muhammad Ali, as Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? So those are 2 people in my life that highly influenced me with how to carry myself and conduct myself as an individual, besides my pops and my uncle. And I think that's a travesty that he doesn't have one. And because he's very important to the culture. When people talk about the culture, and he is the industry that we call today as West Coast music. You know what I mean? When you say West Coast hip hop, it's nothing but synonymous to Ruthless Records, and he created that along with my bros. You know what I mean? So, that's one thing I always want to put out there in any interview that I do, man. The brilliance of Easy E, man. Always remember Eric White, man. Never forget Eric White, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a pioneer right there, man. And I salute y'all for keeping his name out there, because his contribution to the game is definitely need to be heard.
Grail, man. That's the holy grail, man. When God said, let there be light. You know what I'm saying? God said, let there be light. You know what I mean? And that's the light put on you, man. Nobody did it like him. It was no industry. I'm telling you, that's why I say that to y'all. God said, let there be light. There was no industry out here.
Yeah.
That's what people don't know. They keep taking it for granted, y'all. That's the theory of God said, let there be light. His money digging in his pocket was the light. What are we talking about here? Practice.
Man.
Look,
come on now. These cats, that's why these cats, they better know, man.
One thing about it, man, is that over 30 years strong, man. You know, you all put it down for y'all hometown and the P-Town, man, where all the players play, you know, where everybody posted up, you know, doing the stuff, man.
That's right.
I mean, this is always a pleasure, Hutch. I mean, you know, you, I mean, we're still sitting like, you know, we're just sitting like students just soaking up the lessons from one of the legends of so many.
That's
and
right.
We're happy to be in a classroom with swag.
And you guys are in an elite class, because what y'all do when you're protecting the legacy, you're a part of the elite. You know what I mean? Not the usual suspects that's always slanging shit from our era, or slanging or acting like they were so profound in the era, but they doing bullshit in this era. You guys are doing the things that's going to keep you elite, and that's going to keep the culture preserved. You know, other people, they're going to fade away, y'all. I mean, when I watch Mark, when I tell y'all this, they're going to fade away, because that's how it works. Hip hop is too real. It never. It's like your mama's cooking. It's like, you know when it's not in there. You know that ingredient's not in there. You know what I'm saying? If it's not in there, you're going to go looking for that ingredient, dog. You're going to go looking for that ingredient. You're going to look for that home-cooked meal, man. People get tired of fast food, though. I'm telling you. That's hip-hop is an authentic form of music. It's home-cooked. It's homegrown. It's never going to go too far away from that. It just seems like that because it's so saturated. You know what I mean? So guys like yourself are a part of the elite to protect that, to protect mom's recipe, to protect granny's sweet potato pie, you know, her peach cobbler. Y'all protecting that, y'all. You know what I'm saying? That makes you elite.
Yeah, and to get that,
and we definitely appreciate that, because you know we gotta be that. We gotta be the people that hold the guard the right way. The standard.
There you go. Yep. Keep pushing the recipe, man. You
know, we got to be the standard bearer in the area. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
And to get such high praise from you, look, we on cloud nine, man. I mean, when we interviewed Yella a couple months ago, he said we were one of the best interviews he ever had, and of course, we get to talk to you, so we get to talk to two direct descendants of that ruthless Eazy-E tree, man, and to talk to y'all, man, is like shows we're doing the right thing. It shows we're moving it forward as we should be, and pragmatic, you know, in terms of not stagnant.
I can tell you, other people are gonna come and go, and you guys will still be here. Trust me. Other people will come and go, and you guys will still be here, because that's real. That's what real does. The real doesn't go anywhere. It grows. It's like it evolves like a universe. It doesn't need a guide. It doesn't need it's gonna grow itself. So, you know, because it's real. But I mean, I thank y'all for having me on, man. You know what I'm saying, all the time. You know what I mean, in the record, you know, and all the people that's been supporting the record and everything. You guys as well for always supporting me and my crew and my brand. You know, and shout out to my man Cocaine. He did a phenomenal job on the record. He's the only feature on there, and that's on purpose. You know, the whole album is produced by me. That's on purpose. And you know that we're going into a new era of G-Funk and trying to continue that legacy as well. And that's why we did it the way we're doing it. You know, and the Resurrection is getting great reviews, and the consumers loving it, and you know, and people that are, you know, the tastemakers as well. You know, so I appreciate y'all for supporting it off the rip.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt. And you're definitely welcome as always to come through, you know, to chop it up, or if you have anything to promote, or just, you know, just to build, man. We love to build.
Well, you know, I hit y'all when something's on the burner. Me and Cocaine next year we're dropping the Architecture G-Funk album, the LGF record. We have returned, so me and him will definitely be back on that. I'll be the Black Godfather comes out in spring. So I'll definitely be back to talk about the first season of that, and you know, hey, you know, and you know where you can find me, Master Musa Royal, 187 Rockboy Honey's World. You That's my IG. You on Facebook, follow me, Mansa Musa. You know, on Twitter, it's the Real Code 187. Follow all my brands, ogfashion.com. You only get the records, the merchandise, all of the Brother Law merchandise and the music is on ogfashion.com. You want to get the fly player gear, that's MansaMusaRoyalty.com, you know. And Rockboy Honey is coming. The new issues will be coming out in January, so follow us at rockboyhoney.com. And Musa TV is where the MusaTV.net is where the Black Godfather be world premiering and all my videos, and also on my YouTube channel, Musa TV. You know, and that's it, man. You know.
All right.
So yeah, man. On that note, we about to sign up out of here. Big shout out to Yuck Mouth for joining us for the first hour, and big shout out to the Cool 187 for joining us on the second hour.
That's right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Well,
appreciate you. And on that note,
on that note, we gone. See us this Saturday and Sunday. We steady pushing, man.
Yep, that part. All right, y'all. 100.
100, man. Peace.